Not to be confused with Walk Heart, the Justin Bieber story.
Welcome back to HIVEMIND Unlimited.
And welcome to another episode of our movie series, How Did It Age? Where we watch older movies and reevaluate them with modern context. Today's film is 2007's Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
That is so true. This one's been highly recommended by you guys, which really gives me faith in our fans' taste in comedy.
Yeah, I had never seen this movie, and we'll get into it, but I did very much enjoy it. So kind of as a group, a collective recommendation, I'm grateful. That's awesome.
Yeah. Tip of the cap. I had seen it a bunch, beloved movie as a child. But this movie is directed by Jake Kasdan and co-written by him and Judd Apatow. Legendary. We're fresh off the heels of a Judd Apatow movie in Anchorman. And it stars John C. Reilly, Tim Meadows, Jenna Fischer, Kristen Wiig, Chris Parnell, Ed Helms, Jack White, Jack Black, Eddie Vedder, tons of other musician cameos in this, and Jane Lynch makes a hilarious appearance towards the end of the film. This movie did lose money in theaters, which is a shame. It made $20.6 million against a $35 million budget at the box office.
For a movie based off Johnny Cash, I think they could have used some.
I get it, like currency.
Yeah.
It did end up making money back on DVD sales, as a ton of the early 2000s movies did, and became the cult classic that it is today. 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, 6.8 on IMDb, and a 3.7 on letterboxd, which is a pretty whopping number for an early 2000s comedy. And our guy Raj loved the piss out of it too and gave it 3 out of 4 stars. It got John C. Reilly a Golden Globe nomination for Best Comedic Performance and Original Song, which is awesome.
And the C in John C. Reilly actually stands for Cash. So he's a bit of a Johnny Cash character himself.
Nice, dude. Let's keep this going.
And I'm Reilly. Johnny Cash Reilly.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, I get it. We're kind of living in a heyday of biopics, but the early 2000s was as well. Movies like Beyond the Sea, the Bobby Darin biopic, Ray Charles, obviously, Walk the Line, Last Days. There were a lot of really what people described as like shallow kind of just Hollywood biopics at the time. And that's the formation of this movie. That was Kasdan and Apatow's original conception, was like all these movies about famous musicians are just like really corny Hollywood tales told through the vehicle of said famous person. A lot of the people at parodies in this movie are Roy Orbison, Glenn Campbell, Bob Dylan, Jerry Lee Lewis, Donovan, John Lennon, James Brown, Jim Morrison, Conway Twitty, Neil Diamond, Hank Williams, Sonny and Cher, and Brian Wilson, and a ton more.
And I did read that when they were writing this movie, they were not even halfway through the script when they decided that it was going to be John C. Reilly. It was essentially written with him in mind.
Yeah.
They thought there was nobody else who could do it. And part of the reason that they think the movie lost money is he was not exactly an A-list celebrity at the time.
Yeah.
He was kind of more of a supporting actor, supporting role,
Yeah.
character actor guy, very talented. But they knew that he was a great singer, and they knew that he was very funny. And so he was like the only person they could imagine playing the role.
Yeah. Great choice, fellas. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Reilly, you want to tell us the plot of Walk Hard?
I will. Of all the icons in music history, perhaps none are more enigmatic than Dewey Cox. After cutting his brother in half at a young age and losing his sense of smell, Dewey turns to music for comfort and eventually converts his suffering into gold and platinum records. He learns the blues, gets addicted to marijuana, captures the hearts of country fans, gets addicted to cocaine, briefly ventures into punk music, goes to jail and rehab, meets Elvis and the Beatles, cheats on his wives a lot, gets addicted to acid, makes his magnum opus with the help of 137 musicians, stars in his own TV show, and eventually learns a powerful lesson. You can't always think about yourself. You have to think about the world and your family, but not all the time. You have to think about yourself sometimes too, and it's about the music.
The ghosts, yeah, we'll get into the scenes. This movie is just chock full of funny stuff. Let's talk about some of our favorite like one-liners before we get into all the scenes.
Let's walk the lines, Graydon.
Walk hard, like lean.
Yeah, I did that at the beginning with the Justin Bieber thing.
Oh.
So I said, let's walk the lines.
Oh, yeah, like cocaine.
Yeah. I will say some of my favorite scenes in the entire movie, I know this is the lines section, are right at the beginning. I think that usually I don't like when a movie goes back in time to start and then like catches up to where you like the first scene of the movie. But I did like it in this because it's just so funny. Young Dewey and his brother Nate, they're playing around, and obviously Nate's like the really talented piano player brother. He's kind of the golden child. Dewey seems to be kind of like the doofus, like runt to the family sort of vibes. They go out and they're playing in the barn with machetes, and they've got the sheaths on them. But as they're fighting, the sheath, slips off and he cuts his brother directly in half. And then I just love when the top half of him is on the ground, his legs are still standing up, and he just goes, "Dewey, I'm cutting half pretty bad." And then the way that the doctor, the country doctor,
that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, the country doctor coming in and talking to the family, and he goes, "This was a particularly bad case of somebody being cut in half. I was not able to reattach the top half of his body to the bottom half of his body." And his dad goes, "Speak English, Doc. We ain't scientists."
Yeah, Paul, the father character, being just like unbelievably angry and hating Dewey the whole time is like the source of so many great lines.
Mostly just the same line repeated.
Yes, which is great. And one that I still quote to this day all the time.
I never knew what you were referencing when you said that. You say this all the time. And I'm sure Grant has not seen this movie.
Yeah.
If you heard Graydon say,
"Wrong kid died,"
he says that. So yeah, that's from this movie. And it's like, it's just reprised a million times.
Anytime, like, you'd use it in sports if like a good player gets hurt or something. And
no,
he's like,
you use it when somebody says wrong anything.
Yeah,
and
wrong kid died.
You just say that, and I have never known what you meant.
It is so awesome. Another great line from the dad comes after Dewey's first performance at the high school that incites like a riot, a sexual riot.
Right, women are like taking off their shirts.
People are punching each other. The priest during that performance says, "This is the devil's music," which is, funny commentary on like early rock and roll when people were like criticizing Chuck Berry for making like provocative music.
Yeah, because the song's called "Take My Hand."
Yeah, and it's like
just
sweet.
It's a sweet love song.
But the pastor later comes back to the house and he says, "You know who has hands? The devil. And he uses them for holding." And then the dad kicks him out of the house. Awesome scene.
I love that they're like hamming it up that John C. Reilly's playing a 14-year-old.
Yes.
So the mom comes in and is like, "Hello, my 14-year-old son." And he's just like, it's super goofy that and he is surrounded by actual like young kids, and he's the lead singer of the band.
Yeah.
That's very funny. Then after he gets kicked out of the house with his girlfriend who he looked at in the crowd once, and it's Edith, and she's 12 and he's 14. And then you imagine this like huge passing of time because they have a kid. It like jumps forward in time, but then he says that he's only 15.
Yeah,
and she's 13, and they have a baby together.
She's criticizing him about still trying to follow his dream of music, and he's like, "I think I'm doing all right for a 15-year-old with a wife and a baby."
Yeah. And I love the way that she says, she's like, "I will never give up on your dreams." And then it cuts to like less than a year later and they have a baby and she's like, "Give up on your dream." And he's like, "What? Like, I feel like I'm really getting out there, whatever." And then she's like, "What about my dreams?" And he's like, "Edith, I told you, I can't build you a candy house. It'll fall apart. The sun will melt the candy. It won't work." And she's like, "It will if it never rains."
She is unbelievable. Even when she calls him later on tour, she's like, "I hope you fail." Like at the end of a call, she just like the stark turn from undenying support to like despising his dreams. She's showered in babies. She has the big house, all the money's coming in, and she's just like convinced that he's a failure. Is such a good character.
He's like, "I thought you believed in me." She's like, "I do believe in you. I just know you're gonna fail."
She turns around and goes, "Dreams don't come true."
Yeah. And I also love at the one time where he's talking about like the meaning of his dream and whatever. She's just like, "It's about love, you stupid piece of shit." Kristen Wiig is just really good.
She's
in this
wonderful.
movie.
One of their fights turns into a trope that plays throughout the whole movie, but Dewey will often write a song at like the climax of an argument.
Yeah.
And he's describing the dream in that little kitchen fight to her. He's, "Sometimes life's hard and you gotta walk. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna walk hard." And this is the first hit that he ends up writing, "Walk Hard," name of the movie.
Yeah, and he does this gaze where he's just like, "Walk hard." And after he does that a few times, it like turns them into songs. Eventually, they have an argument later in the movie, and she's like, "Don't you dare write a song right now."
After the initial success, he gets his first hit or whatever. They're kind of like having a party at the house, and he has already bought her a monkey before. Like John C. Reilly starts getting obsessed with exotic animals, which I guess is just commentary on anybody who was a rock star in the 70s.
Well, it's also a reference to the beginning of the movie because he does a lot of things throughout the movie that Nate references in the very first scene. So it's like stuff that Nate wants to do with his life.
He ends ends up doing.
And so he ends up doing it because he's like, you got to be good enough for the both of us.
Yeah, but a giraffe leans over and grabs a carrot out of his hand, and he's like holding court at the dinner table. He's like, yeah, I was doing a gig in New Jersey. He said, you'll pay me $5,000. I said, no, you won't. You'll give me that giraffe. And then it like switches to the next scene. You can still hear John C. Reilly, and he's like, and they did. He's all happy about it. It's so funny.
Another fight that they get in that I think is awesome is he's like still married to Kristen Wiig, but he's clearly gotten into just like hooking up with people on tour and whatever. And then he falls in love with Pam from The Office, and he goes and gets married to her because she says that she can't have sex until they're married. And so they get married, but he's already married to Kristen Wiig. Then she shows up, and he like he's caught in the middle of this thing where he just doesn't know what to do. He's trying to make both of them happy. Yeah. And it's super awkward, but really, really good timing on all of the like responses to everything. But then I just love that Kristen Wiig goes, it's illegal to be married to two people at the same time, Dewey. And then he's like, what about if you're famous? It's just such a funny line.
And then she leaves, and he looks at Jenna Fisher or Darlene and goes, well, she's gone, and like tries to like keep having sex with her.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. In another Kristen Wiig Edith fight, she's complaining how he's always gone, and he's like, I'm gonna miss some big things. I'm gonna miss some birthdays. I'm gonna miss some births, frankly.
He's like, it just doesn't make sense that I would be there for all that stuff.
And then she's complaining. He goes, I got you everything you wanted. The house, the monkey, children, a giraffe. He goes, how about if I get you a little crow that can talk, and I can teach it to say things that I say. So when you wake up, it goes, hey, honey, or it's not me. It's just a little crow. And she's like, what? She's crying. That line is so funny.
Oh, that whole scene. Like, it looks like he's coming up with it on the spot.
Yeah, it does.
Could be wrong.
Very improv.
But he's like, what about a crow that can talk? I'll teach it to say sayings that I'd say. It's so funny.
Then right after that, he goes out to he's like opening for Elvis Presley, and Ed Helms, who's the stage manager at that show, which is like a great little moment of Ed Helms. He comes out to inform everyone. He says, well, Elvis wants to get out of here early. He's hungry, so we're going to switch a few things around. It's going to be the Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, who's Frankie Muniz.
He's so funny.
And then the King, and then you. So Dewey is like confronted with now closing, following Elvis. And that leads right into Jack White's cameo as Elvis.
Yeah.
And he has some ridiculous lines. Half of them are inaudible, but he keeps going, hey, watch out. And like karate chopping Dewey's neck. And he goes, hey, watch out. That's karate. Only two people know it, the Chinese and the King.
And I'm one of them.
And Dewey goes, yep, you're the king. And he walks away and he goes,
that's right.
What the hell was he saying?
He goes, what the fuck was that? Yeah, Jack White being Elvis is so good.
It's so good.
And there's two types of cameos as like people playing famous people in this movie. There is like Jack White doing a really good Elvis, but a really strange Elvis. Then there's Frankie Muniz as Buddy Holly, where they just say Buddy Holly as many times as they can to let you know that it's Buddy Holly.
He's like, yep, that's why they call me Buddy Holly. Thanks, Buddy Holly. I really love that one song by Buddy Holly. And he's like, yep, that's why I wrote it, because I'm Buddy Holly.
And he's not acting at all. No. And then we'll get into some of the other ones later, but Jack White is the big surprise for me. He was so good in this.
I love the line after he marries Darlene and before he gets into the double between marriage argument. Yeah. He comes out of the bathroom in his robe. And this is like very, very Anchorman-esque. Yeah. Almost like Will Ferrell, like the ugly, hairy 60s guy, but like he's like sexy. He walks out of the bathroom and goes, I'm ready for sex. And then he does this little horse thing where he like,
it's like a bull.
He's like, he's scratching his feet on the ground and like prancing over, and she's like, oh. He goes
she's into it.
He goes full beast mode on her.
Yeah. I love when he descends into madness in this movie due to his addictions. And it's just very clear that this is supposed to be like the falling apart part of the biopic. And he's having sex with a girl and drinking from a bottle. And he just goes, God damn it, this is a dark fucking period.
The bandmates ask on the bus, does Dewey seem all right? He seemed really sad lately. And it goes to the other side of the bus. He's looking out the window just going,
he seems sad.
Yeah. And then I think it's like Chris Parnell or someone's like, that was beginning of the story, Dewey. This is middle Dewey. They're just like directly.
Very meta. Yeah.
Speaking of very meta, before the Elvis performance, he busts into the closet to find his drummer, who is Tim Meadows, who This is my favorite Tim Meadows performance of all time. And he's in the closet and he's like, what are you guys doing? And they're in there smoking reefer. Tim Meadows says, we're doing reefer, Dewey. You don't want none of this shit. Again, this is a trope that comes up throughout the movie, but during this back and forth with Dewey's like ready to talk himself out of it.
Yeah.
He's like, well,
I don't want a hangover.
I don't want a hangover. And Tim Meadows is like adamant. He's like, it doesn't give you a hangover.
He's like, well, I'd get addicted to it or something.
It's not habit forming.
And he's like, maybe it would make me want to have sex more.
It makes sex even better.
And he's like, you don't want this. And he's like, I think I do want it. He's like, all right, close the door. Just this once. That's the best one of the drug ones.
Yeah.
The weed one is the funniest one because Tim Meadows is on just like, it's not habit forming.
And he goes, well, I don't want to spend a bunch of money. He goes, it's the cheapest drug ever.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah. Yeah, then they reprise that with cocaine, pills, and eventually Viagra, which is a commercial. Like he does it like in the style of a commercial.
I do love the pills one because during that he goes, what are you guys doing here? He says, we're doing pills, uppers, downers. It's the logical next step for you because he's already gotten them on the weed.
Yeah.
He's done coke. He's an alcoholic. And now he's like, it's the logical next step for you. Get in here.
Yeah, it's very meta. I love movies that are like that.
Me too. Yeah. He has multiple crash outs during this. During the breakup with Edith, as she's ready to leave, she's like getting ready to she's rounding up like the 30 kids that they have.
Yeah.
I love when he just turns to one of the kids and is like, you'll never make it without me. Look at you. You're just a stupid baby.
Yeah, he's like, look at you sitting all there all high and mighty in your diaper. You need me.
You need me. And then she goes to take him and she like thinks about grabbing the monkey and he's like, you could take the children, but you leave me my monkey.
He's like, don't even think about taking Miles, which is the monkey's name is Miles. Yeah, and then he gets mad at the monkey, and he's like, all you care about is fruit or whatever. It's like so stupid.
In the acid crash out, which is now the 60s, he's put together the big band or whatever, and he's yelling at everyone, and the bandmates, his original bandmates, are like upset that they don't have the biggest part in this one song that he's been working on for 6 months, and they finally confront him about it. And I think it's Chris Parnell says, you've gotten a Siamese cats every Christmas. For
glass cats.
Glass Siamese cats. And Dewey tries to defend it by saying, the Siamese cat was a symbol of nobility in ancient Egypt. And they fire off and he goes, fuck nobility. And someone else says, fuck ancient Egypt. And then they go, fuck cats. That line is so good. And Tim Meadows keeps interjecting with, and you never paid for drugs. Not once.
Yeah, Tim Meadows' only complaint in that is that they're like voicing real things. And, just gives, and you never paid for drugs, not once.
Tim Meadows just loves doing drugs.
Yeah, that's his whole
Even
character.
when they're doing like when they go to do acid with the Beatles and they're like, what if we do some acid? Tim Meadows is like, yeah, let's do that. He gets like all excited by it.
The last line I have in this section is Eddie Vedder at the end of this movie. He is like essentially just introducing Dewey Cox to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award. And he says, if Elvis and Buddy Holly are the Cain and Abel of rock and roll, Bruce Springsteen is Zachariah, Iggy Pop is Methuselah, and of course, Neil Young is the wise prophet Ezekiel. What does that make Dewey Cox? And it cuts away.
Yeah, like
they never answer that question.
There's so many times in this movie where like a joke will like lead into like a pan into the next scene, but you'll get the punchline.
Yeah.
Which is very clever. But then in this one, it like kind of goes into backstage and then you're just like left hanging with this like bizarre biblical Eddie Vedder monologue that you get no conclusion on.
I don't think I laughed harder in the movie than during that. Like, I'll get to my favorite scene and best scenes, but like that line, I was like, what?
Yeah, because you don't see it coming.
Like, yeah, no, he's like, and of course, Neil Young is the wise prophet Ezekiel. I love the way he delivers this line. He's doing it like it's really a speech.
Yeah. I only have a couple more and I'll just kind of throw them out there. When he's old, he's arguing at one point and he's like, and custody is trying to be forced upon me, which I don't feel is right. That's a great line. He gets his sense of smell back at one point and he picks up horse poop, and he goes, I can smell horse shit. And it's very in the vein of like John C. Reilly's stepbrother's character there. Like when he's like freaking out happy. Finally, when he cuts his dad in half during the machete fight, his dad says, I realize now I should have spent less time training my mind and body to defeat you in a machete fight and more time being your father. It's just an awesome line. All right, we're going to try our best to go chronologically here, but the opening scene is so great to me because it's just him and his brother living the most dangerous childhood of all time.
That line at the beginning where he just goes, ain't nothing horrible gonna happen today.
It's just so great. His mom says that later on.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, fuck. He's dead.
He's gonna die, yeah.
But they're like, he throws a rattlesnake at him. They're riding a tractor so fast. It's like,
yeah. They're running away from a bull at one point. It's like a bunch of shit. Also, when he's welding or something, and there's like all the sparks are going on the hay, and you see like the smoke coming up. You think he's gonna die in all these ways, and then he dies in the funniest way possible, just getting cut in half with a machete.
He also like finishes a statue during that. He like makes a beautiful statue.
It's a giraffe.
Yeah.
So that's like where the callback comes from. But that leads into after he dies, and they're saying wrong kid died, and then he right away says, I've gone smell blind. Like he like right away is like, I can't smell anything. And then she's like, oh, you've gone smell blind. And then she's like, walk up to the corner store, get some milk and butter. And so he walks up there. As he walks in, there's these two old guys just playing the blues in the back, and he's listening. And this conversation, the young Dewey, whoever plays young Dewey is unbelievable in this movie. So expressive, but he's just leaning up against the wall listening to them. And then he's like, I never heard music like that before. They're like, it's the blues. And then he's like, I'd like to make me some blues. And they're like, no 6-year-old can understand the meaning of the blues. He's like, I reckon I could. They're like, you play guitar? He's like, never have before. They hand him the guitar, and right away, he hits one bad note, then hits one good chord, then starts going, and the way that his head moves, he is a little kid just going...
Cut my brother in half.
Yeah, when he starts singing, it's obviously dubbed over by, I assume, an old black man.
Yeah.
and he's just like, I did a bad thing. Cut my brother in half.
He's moaning and groaning, and the guys are like, not bad for first time playing the guitar.
Yeah, so that is probably my favorite scene in the entire movie.
Yeah.
I was like crying laughing.
As someone who had seen it before, I like knew that. I was so excited as that scene happened. I was like, oh yeah, they do the voiceover. And then I just kind of like watched you. The second he opens his mouth, you were like, ah!
It's so good.
Yes.
It's more the head movements.
Yeah.
The voice is obviously very funny. That the kid's a very good actor, able to like, you know, however they did it, I don't know, but it's like looks like he's singing. But his head movement, as soon as he starts playing the guitar, he has the face of somebody really feeling and playing the blues. It's so good.
Yeah. I have the Jack White Elvis scene here in scenes just as one of my favorite scenes. It's amazing. You don't even like, Jack White is a pretty distinct looking person in general. I feel like you can kind of spot him out of a crowd.
Yeah, unless she's standing next to Edward Scissorhands.
Of course. But like this, that's Jack White. Oh yeah, that's Jack White. Like he's so like in Elvis mode.
He's not doing like a hammed up Elvis impression either. It is like kind of subtle, and he's doing his own thing with it, which I like because he like it's not just like
right.
Like he's doing like just a little thing with like this corner of his mouth, and he's just acting like an asshole and being really weird.
So funny. And then he just has lines where he's like,
yeah, you just don't quite understand it, but yeah, it's great.
As he goes on tour, Edith, his wife, has warned him about the temptations. He reassures her that it's not going to happen. And then we get this scene where it's like Dewey's first call back home during tour. And he's like, it's just him in the bed at first. And then Tim Meadows gets up off the ground with two girls and is like, hey, I'm trying to have sex with these ladies down here. Will you pipe down? She's like, who's that? He quiets her down. And then as like he moves about the room, it kind of pans out and you realize they're just in like this full bacchanal. Sex everywhere, drugs getting smoked and done. And then he sits on like the end of the bed and he's having this conversation. This is the part of the movie Roger Ebert really hated in his review.
Yeah.
But two separate times, a penis just comes up into the right of frame.
A very tiny penis, by the way.
By a man named Bert.
Yeah.
And he like turns and looks at the penis and is, oh, hey, Bert. And he's like, oh, that's the roadie asking me if I want any coffee or something. And he walks away. Then he comes back, refers, like they have like a conversation. And it even like appears at the end. This is just Bert's penis. That's pretty funny to me. And I think it's like, I don't know, it like makes the movie like a little like just grosser in general because you're confronted with a up close penis in a pretty early frame.
I don't think it does much for the comedy of the movie personally. I kind of was like,
I loved it. I think it's awesome. It makes it like definitely a little weirder than expected. I'm just going to keep going chronological here.
Oh, no, I got some stuff.
Okay, go ahead.
I really like a lot of the music in this movie, like genuinely. Like Walk Hard's a good song. Also, Guilty as Charged is like a very catchy, cool song. I really like Let's Duet, which is him and Pam from The Office. Doing like an innuendo sex song. And it actually is like tasteful and funny.
Yeah.
Like it's like written like an old classic duet where he sings one line, then there's like a little pause, and then she says the next. And it always has some level of innuendo in it.
Yes.
And then the hook is let's duet.
Yeah.
And it's like
let's do it.
And it's like do it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, it's good.
In my dreams, I imagine you blowing me some kisses.
Yeah, it's like it's all stuff like that. Yeah.
That whole montage of a scene. So like as you're introduced to most of the hit songs, a whole scene will play out where like a little time passes. And during this one, it's kind of the love story of him falling for Darlene as she joins the tour. And she sets the boundary of she kisses him and then he'll go to do it and she'll slap him again. And then it's just them doing friend shit, but all in like sexual ways.
Yeah.
They're like woodworking and like sawing and like sweating. They're riding horses. They're the ice cream scene. She's just like deep throating the ice cream and he's walking down the street. He's going.
Yeah. See, those are the things. It's funny that I think that is like some of the dichotomy. Like to me, I'm like, this is stupid.
I like that it happens during a song.
Yeah, the song is good. I felt like the song was like tasteful, and that was like, all right. Like I don't like when 2000s comedies would do that.
Yeah.
There's too many things where it's just like mimicking sex, but doing it with other objects, you know?
You get the scene during, or the whole montage during Guilty as Charged is kind of like him devolving into drug use and stuff.
Right.
And at like the climax of that song, he's like in a sting and he just buys like a huge bag of pills in an alley and starts running from the cops. And it ends like right at the chorus of the song. Guilty as charged.
Yeah, and then he's in jail, and then he says that jail changed him because he's been surrounded by the common man, and that really changed his perspective. And he's like, I need to get out of here so I can help them. I don't want to live with them.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good commentary. It's pretty funny.
That leads into like he does a plea bargain that is like him going to rehab essentially.
Yeah.
That's like what gets him out of jail. And then his time in rehab as he's like detoxing is just so funny because he's just tied to a bed and he's like,
It's the classic. It's the way it's shot too is really like a classic, like insane asylum sort of thing where like they like have these hard pans and these weird like low frame rates and it's like really like blown out and contrasty and shit like that. And he's just in the bed like this. And then the conversation between the doctor and like the nurse and him is he's like, I'm hot, I'm cold. And they're like, he's like, I'm cold. They're like, get him more blankets. And he's like, I'm hot. They're like, less blankets.
He goes, I'm hot and cold at the same time. And the nurse turns to the doctor and is like, he needs more blankets and less blankets at the same time. And the doctor goes,
I'm afraid you're right.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're right. And then he's like in a coma where he can kind of see everyone come in and all the characters like rotate in and like do their tropes. Dad comes in and says, wrong kid died. Tim Meadows comes in and is like, you mind if we get high in here? And the nurse says, oh, don't worry about him. He's going to die anyway. They just like smoke in there.
As for all the musical cameos in this movie, I think most of them are fantastic for one reason or another. Like we talked about, Jack White knocks it out of the park. Frankie Muniz's Buddy Holly is hilarious for no reason. And the Beatles, it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. How do I put this? Some of them are doing a pretty decent impression, but some of them are pushing it into a ridiculous, like mocking tone.
Yeah.
Most of them are, and some of it is straight up bad, but that makes it funnier.
Yeah, I feel like they're just literally joking around.
Yeah, so Jack Black is Paul McCartney, Paul Rudd is John Lennon, Justin Long is George Harrison, and Jason Schwartzman is Ringo Starr.
Star-studded.
So we'll start with Jack Black as Paul McCartney, he does like 5 different accents, can't really do it, and it's just like, I'm Paul McCartney. Like he's like not really doing it, but he's Jack Black, so it's great.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd is doing this weird thing with his mouth where he's like, well, I'm John Lennon and we have to mention, and it is I'm doing it less than he was doing it. Like it's crazy.
Because we are the Beatles.
Yeah, we are the Beatles. And then he goes, he's like, oh, shut up, Ringo. You're lucky we still let you play the drums.
Jason Schwartzman goes, I have a song about an octopus. Yeah. Shut up, Ringo. You're lucky we still let you play the drums.
Yeah. And George Harrison, like Justin Long as George Harrison is actually genuinely very good.
Yeah, he's like, he plays like the bummed out, excluded George Harrison well as he's holding a sitar. He's like, I'm just trying to get some songs on the next album.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some songs on the next album. And he's like, I'll just sit here while my guitar quietly whimpers instead of gently weeps.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah. They were great. And then the Bob Dylan parody.
Yeah, it's awesome. The Donovan Bob Dylan moment or whatever.
Yeah, they're hating on Donovan by saying like Dewey Cox is copying Bob Dylan's sound. And then he's like, why don't people ask Bob Dylan why he's copying Dewey Cox? But the song that they play, you said you have it written down.
I do. Scroll down to the bottom of my doc, Grant.
We got to read the lyrics. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
So this is the first verse from the first Bob Dylan replica song. He's like, in an old concert.
It's black and white.
Yeah, it looks like Bob Dylan footage.
Yeah, it looks like an old Bob Dylan footage thing, yeah.
It says, mailboxes drip like lampposts in the twisted birth canal of the Coliseum. Rim job ferries, teapots mask the temper tantrum. Oh, say can you see him? Stuffed cabbage is the darling of the laundromat. And the sorority mascot sat with the lumberjack passing, stinging half-synthetic fabrication of his time. The mouse with the overbite explained how the rabbits were ensnared in the skinny, scantily
sylph. Yeah, scanty sylph.
Sylph trashed. Go ahead.
Trash the apothecary diplomat inside the 3-eyed monkey with inches of the toaster oven life. Oh, dude, it is like just the beginning. Mailboxes drip like lampposts in the twisted birth canal of the Coliseum.
It like cuts to like a security guard who's like literally like wincing in pain. He's like, oh shit.
Oh, dude, it's so good. And I love that it like comes from him saying, I gotta stop writing about my own life.
Yeah.
I gotta write about the world and like the injustices. He's like, people having injustices done to them.
Yeah.
And then like women and little people and stuff.
Yeah.
And then he writes this other song as Bob Dylan.
The second Bob Dylan song is Let Me Hold You Little Man.
Yeah.
Which is a protest song about like the injustice of small people.
Against little people. But I will say, it's very heavily leaning into this being like race related,
right?
Like choosing like little people instead.
Yeah.
And it comes off a bit like I got a little tense watching that part because I'm like, okay, what exactly are they? I get that it's a joke or whatever, and the song is funny.
Yeah.
But it is like there's literally people holding up like
little panthers,
little panther party. And stuff like that, and it's pretty tough. It's
that's a lot. Like they could have, I don't know. That whole scene either could have been excluded for the better, or could have been a minute less. Like they wrote a whole song for that joke. Yeah, that is just like
the first Bob Dylan song gets it. Like you don't even need to do the second one because the second one doesn't sound as much like Bob Dylan unless it's like 80s Dylan.
Sure,
kinda. It's a weird thing. It did age odd.
It is for sure.
That was something in the 2000s that people did that it just doesn't feel like you can do that now.
Yeah. So like after his 60s thing, he gets out of rehab. Then he goes and does the acid with the Beatles, and he kind of has this like failure where it's pretty much his Brian Wilson phase.
Yeah.
Where he's doing all this. He's like a recluse who's jumping on a trampoline for 4 days at a time. He has 137 musicians locked at a studio, and it's just like
he's making one song and it's taken like 8 months or something.
At one point he does say, I need more didgeridoos, an army of didgeridoos, which is funny.
He has actual goats in there that he's trying to make them make sounds. And it's supposed to be Brian Wilson like losing his mind and doing what's the Beach Boys song? Lovers something.
Sure.
That's the one I think that he's
like
parodying, but it's called Black Sheep for him. And yeah.
And he's like, make it sound like velvet pancakes. Someone asked, what are velvet pancakes? And Tim Meadows is like, it's the acid. Finally, Darlene like threatens to leave him. And is like, you have to stop doing the drugs. You need to like clear your mind. And he's like, okay. It's all done. I'll stop. And then they hug. And right as they get out of the hug, she goes, what was that? And he goes, "What?"
He goes, gum.
She says, you're not chewing gum?
And he goes, candy?
Yeah, then he just admits to it being PCP.
And runs out into the streets and does like a Charlie Manson thing.
Yeah, he runs out naked into the city and the cops chase him and he's like making crazy noises. Darlene yells at him from the street that she's done, she's leaving. And then we kind of like wake up in the 70s and he's like washed up guy running a corny TV show, which is our Sonny and Cher parody.
Yeah, and there's also baked into that whole like era, there's like Neil Diamond and David Bowie. He does like a David Bowie Spaceman song, which is also a reference to Nate at the beginning of the movie saying he wants to be a spaceman and a professional baseball player.
Yeah, this all comes coupled, like, because it's a successful TV show. He's like a successful former kind of washed up musician, but still has the heart of America and is able to like parlay his former fame into this disco era colored TV fame of like covering tunes. And he's kind of just like a jester, making a mockery of himself. But he has this crazy beach house during that time. And he's throwing a party for the ratings. And there's all these freaks around. But eventually when he does crash out over that show, that is my favorite crash out because it becomes so tedious. In like the first, he's like breaking shit, his quintessential ripping the sink out.
Yeah, he always rips a sink out and lets it crash on
His
the
wife
ground.
at the time is like, if you rip that sink out, I'll leave you. Rips it out. Then it goes to him like hedging flowers, like cutting flowers, like really angrily.
Yeah.
And then it like just keeps getting smaller. He's like sawing at a couch.
And he does that until it turns to night. Yeah.
And then he starts bending spoons one by one. And he's like almost annoyed with
He's
the
bored,
time.
yeah.
It's like, oh. That is just like such a, because he's crashed out so many times, and I just love that as the twist in that one, is that he gets bored with the minuteness of it.
He also has like a third wife at that point.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many eras in this movie. Last musical cameo that I absolutely love comes at the end of the movie when he kind of has learned his lesson. He turns down the Viagra, and then he says, I don't want to succumb to the temptations. And then he's walking through the hall, and you just see the Temptations doing My Girl. And he goes, the Temptations!
Yeah.
And runs.
He turns the corner and is spooked. He's like, the Temptations!
Yeah. And there's like, talking about my girl.
Yeah. The whole last awards show is great. The Beautiful Ride.
Yeah.
That is a great song. I love that as a song. The whole last scene is awesome.
Yeah, I love that in the song when he says, and traveling not just for business.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I think the one glaring repeated scene we have to talk about that is kind of the stain on the movie is how they deal with the music executives.
Yeah, I wrote down a few things, that being one of them for sure. Music executives in this are Hasidic Jewish people.
Yeah, just awful caricatures. Of their names are like
Mazel Tov and Lahaim.
Yeah. And then later, the son of one is like Dreidel.
Yep. Dreidel Lahaim, I think. And he is into rap music and shows Dewey a song that samples Walk Hard.
By Lil Nutsack.
By Lil Nutsack. And then he says, I think Dewey Cox and Lil Nutsack could collab. And, you know, not only is some of the worst like comedic moments of the movie come from that, but it's also very tasteless and like tough to, I understand like, you know, whatever. There's a way to maybe make that joke funny, but it just isn't funny in this movie, I think. It just feels like it's lazy. It's not like well written and funny. It's just kind of like there. That, and I also, I know you might disagree with this. I really don't like him singing the song in place of the one guy.
Oh, and in front of Craig Robertson's character, like when he's working at the club?
Yeah, when Craig Robinson can't play and they have Dewey Cox go in and sing it.
I think that scene's hilarious.
Yeah, that scene just, I don't know.
I like it because I think the writing there is decent, where your first scene of him moving to the city or whatever and working at the club, he's in the back and he's mouthing like every word. And he even does the ad libs.
The speaking parts.
Yeah, he knows the speaking parts. And then when Craig Robertson can't play that day, he's like, I literally know your set front to back. And like, that's the joke for me, is that he like knows the set front to back.
I like the beginning of the joke, but it's just being like that song. I get that might be the strongest joke in the room type of thing. To me, it's that the audience immediately, at first they're like, wait a second. And then they all love it.
Yeah.
I kind of was like, the commentary there is a little shaky for me. I feel like that might not be as smart as they think it is.
The only time the music executives being Jewish really works for me is when they do take him to do like his first record and he's singing That's Amore, and whoever the producer in the room cuts him off and is like yelling at him. He's like, stop singing. And he's like, these guys, I trusted you because these guys brought you in and they always have good taste. But today, my friend, you have made me question my like confidence in Judaism. He's like, I don't know if I can even believe in the faith anymore. And that is like, then Dewey from the other room's like, well, I don't want you to lose faith in Judaism.
That whole scene is very funny. Like that guy, the engineer doing that and being like, you have failed. Nothing you do could turn this around. Nothing you do in that studio in front of me could change my mind about you as a failure. And then he's like, I give you 15 seconds. And he immediately likes it.
Yeah.
And then this is not like a gripe on like a moral level, but I do think that there's probably 15 minutes of Cox jokes that are just because his name is Dewey Cox that are not a single one of them needed to be in the movie.
No,
Doesn't make it funnier. I think it's actually funnier if his name is Dewey Cox and no one makes a Cox joke.
Right.
Instead of being like Black Cox.
Yeah.
You know, like whatever. I'm just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
That feels lazy. There is some lazy stuff, and overall the movie is a bit too long.
Yeah, it's 2 hours long.
It could have been cut to an hour and 40, an hour and a half, and it would have been like amazing.
Had to fit all those songs in there.
Yeah, I guess. Jack White, honestly.
Jack White.
Yeah. I mean, it's John C. Reilly, but I didn't want to pick like John C. Reilly. It's like,
that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like I kind of am like, who do I want to give props to? Who's an underrated, you know, who's a bench guy? Who's like a role player?
I think with that being said, I have John C. Reilly down, but I did write that it was a tough call. I really love Jenna Fisher's performance. She is so good in it. She's like over the top when she needs to be. It's hard for me to like remember her in a comedic movie context other than like the love interest, semi-funny Office context. Yeah. And I was just, I was blown away.
If you'll allow me to pit two women against each other, I will say I think Kristen Wiig did a better job as his wife than Jenna Fisher.
You love doing that more than anyone I know. So that's perfect timing.
I actually hate to do it. And it's one of my biggest regrets in life is pitting women against each other. Specifically when fighting for my love. And I really don't like that I've ever done that. But at the same time, I think Kristen Wiig absolutely watched Jenna Fisher eat shit.
And they should fight.
Yeah, they should fight in real life to figure it out. Honestly, the thing that I was thinking about is like it kind of be pop star.
Yeah,
it's a very similar type of thing that they're doing. I think the main differences between the way that this movie's handled and the way that pop star's handled is that it doesn't have so much history baked into it that they have like people playing old musicians. It is all people playing themselves.
Yeah, it doesn't go through decades.
And it's not that's a documentary too, and this one's more of like a biopic.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have like the, DJ Khaled sitting in front of a camera being like, when the world is catched by your phrase. Like it doesn't have like, I loved that first Connor single. It doesn't have people doing that, the confessionals, but I do think that it would be similar in that way because it'd be chronicling other music. I kind of like wish there was a version of this for the 90s.
Yeah.
You
could almost just pick it up and like, at the late 70s and then go through the 90s.
Yeah, or have it follow kind of like late 80s or like mid 80s all the way through and have it be kind of like a Kurt Cobain type of character, that type of thing.
Yeah, that would be great.
I think that'd be good.
And we have a lot of other biopics now, obviously, to pull from. We have the Bob Dylan biopic. We're going to have the Bruce biopic soon. The Elton John, the Queen. So we have all these other ones to kind of make fun of, or at least that's like trounce on. And I also think they would probably lighten up on some of the Jew stuff.
Yeah, I think the Jew stuff and maybe the also just like the other racist elements to this for sure.
Yeah, I don't think he'd sing the song he did in Craig Robertson's club.
Yeah, it's Craig Robinson.
Craig Robinson's club. So yeah, some of that stuff would definitely change.
Yeah, there'd be some stuff that would change because that was 2007 and that was almost 20 years ago. You're getting old, by the way.
Yeah.
Remember that. The passing of time is inevitable.
Thank you.
Don't have one.
Yeah, I don't have a good one either.
I put Jamie Foxx.
Nice. I put, it's a new version and it's rap. And it's Kevin Hart as Drewski's manager.
It's so much Drewski in your recast. It's like crazy.
He's ready.
Yeah. Has he been like...
He's ready.
He hasn't starred in a movie.
He's ready, okay. Reilly.
All right. Yeah, for sure.
Kevin Hart is his manager and he kind of does a Rick Ross thing.
Okay.
Funny, right?
Yeah, I guess.
He does
Yeah.
Wingstop. There's like a food thing in there.
Sure.
He owns a giant mansion. Think of all the jokes on the amount of land that Rick Ross owns.
Right. It could have the buffalo or whatever, the
Oh,
bison.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. We tried really hard on recast this time, and
I did try. I
Yeah.
had like Justin Timberlake down and was like, maybe he could do like a singer that wasn't a Johnny Cash thing, but you go later. I had Orville Peck down because he basically did this as a career.
Yeah.
And he's great, but he does do like an Elvis Johnny Cash thing most of the time. But I like his music a lot, so I don't want to offend anybody.
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's tough.
Yeah, you guys actually, let's do it. Let's crowdsource it. You guys comment good recasts for this movie. It's hard to imagine anybody but John C. Reilly doing it.
Obviously, a lot of original comedy songs. Unreal performances by John C. Reilly playing the guitar and singing for like 95% of this, but all the other music and I think some of the songs are written by Michael Andrews, or also known as Elgin Park, who is famous for doing that Mad World cover.
Oh yeah, the Mad World.
Yeah.
From Donnie Darko.
Yeah. So how about that?
That's awesome.
What? Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, no one knew that.
Yeah, now I know.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
That's awesome. Anything to say about the song? Do you have a favorite song from it?
Maybe Guilty as Charged. I think that's that one is just, there's something about the timbre to his voice that really gets me.
And it's bad boy time and he's doing a mariachi thing, and when he hits him with the guilty as charged. Yeah, that's so good. I love the final song too. Those are probably my two favorites.
Yeah, and Walk Hard's a good song too. I mean, there's a bunch of great music in this. It is a music movie, and John C. Reilly is like legitimately such a talented singer.
So good. So good. I was like, I was on the borderline of having chills a couple times as he goes into some melodies. I'm like, damn, that's so good.
Well, he has music out if you want to check it out. He does like a lot of standards and stuff. He's a great musician.
Very handsome too. Would you recommend this to someone, Reilly?
Yeah.
All right.
I gave it 4 stars and said walk the lines, reheated nachos.
I gave it 3 stars.
Yeah. Again, I'm legally mandated to say reheated nachos in every single video.
Sucks.
So I just want to make it clear.
Because like McCorskius or something, the Kraft guy.
McCruskey
keeps coming in. It's
McCruskey from Kraft Mac and Cheese. He's one of the guys. There's multiple companies that are sponsoring me to say reheated nachos in every single video. I'm sorry if that bothers you, and congratulations if you like it.
I got it. 3 stars. I'd leave my wife for Pam too.
You should leave your wife for the gym.
I don't want to fuck that guy.
No, I know. You need to go to the gym.
Yeah, they're both the same.
If you want to land, a Pam, you got to go to the gym.
Yeah, they're both the same. Both involve banging dudes.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Okay.
No.
That was a gay joke.
I guess.
It's a gay gym joke.
I think that the right way to do it would be to go to the gym if you want to land a Pam, and also The Office.
And that's my creed. Nice.
Oh, yes.
Dude, we did it.
Yeah, we totally did it. All right, I'm Office.
Sweet. That was Walk Hard for another awesome episode of How Did It Age. Let us know which movie we should watch next. If you're a Patreon member or a member on YouTube, you get to see which movie we're going to watch a week ahead of time as long as Reilly posts it. And then you can watch it and kind of be a part of the little movie club with us and have some more context during these videos.
HIVEMIND Movie Club. It's long awaited. Let's get a graphic up, DK. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Popcorn and light.
Yeah, and it'll say HIVEMIND Movie Club. Wow, and sorry I posted it on a Wednesday this time.
Like a shitty sign that like plugs in. It's like...
He doesn't like when you give him big requests, though, so we should let it...
And then a Hulk bursts through it, and he's being chased by Red Hulk.
Who's being chased by the shark, the shark from Jaws.
Okay,
and then the guy from The Shining goes, here's Johnny, or whatever.
And then he points to both of us and goes...
Yeah, and then Johnny Carson says, shut up, Letterman.
Okay, cool. See you in the next one.
Yeah, thank you so much. Join the Patreon if you want to see the movie.
Bye.
Anything for the post credits? Anything interesting?
Swordfish or something.
What about them?
They're fast.
Yeah, I guess I don't know much about if they're fast. It is interesting that they're called swordfish. I would have called them swordface. 'Cause that's where it comes out of. The whole fish doesn't look like a sword, just the face.
That's pretty good.
Sword face fish.
While we're on the topic, a hammerhead shark doesn't really look like a hammer.
Depends on what kind of hammer.
The double-sided, it looks like a sledgehammer, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of
You're
the
right.
idea.
I guess that is the
Or the
idea.
judge hammer that you were talking about yesterday.
Yeah, the judge hammer.
Yeah, which they should come up with a name for that because I don't understand why.
Maybe the gasol or something.
That's stupid. And,
Yeah, it could be Latin though. Do we ever just come up with words and say they were Latin?
No, I don't.
How
think
would
so.
you know?
I mean, I wouldn't know, but that's like saying, how would I know anything about anything? I got to believe some stuff. You can question
true.
certain things, but like,
Yeah.
it feels like there isn't much gain from lying about a word coming from Latin. If I'm being tricked about that,
Yeah.
I don't know what the implications of it are.
Well, maybe that's what makes it so great.
Yeah, I guess. There's a lot of root languages, though. It's not just Latin.
Yeah, there's root languages too. Trees communicate to each other in the forest.
Yes, they do. They say, I'm thirsty.
Get over here, you big oak.
They go, uh-oh, bird again. There's too many birds on me. That's what they say.
Get
It's
this.
like, can you get one of the birds over on you? This is so heavy. Eventually, it becomes too much. It's
Oh,
too-
wind.
Yeah. They go, it's windy. Oh, you waving to me? No, it's just windy. This is dumb. That's dumb, what we just did.